But first, the man who joins the dots. From Hello Kitty to holy relics, from souped-up motorbikes to shamanism, Grayson Perry. The Turner Prize-winning potter has just curated an exhibition here at the British Museum, featuring his own work alongside that of anonymous men and women from the museum's own collection. What's Grayson up to? I went to meet him to find out. The British Museum has been described as the place where the world comes to meet the world. The 8 million objects that it houses reflect every known facet of the entire history of world civilization. For his latest exhibition, Grayson Perry has curated an installation from his pick of the collection, to be shown alongside new and first-time exhibited works of his own.
The starting point, in a way, for me, is kind of, I wanted the audience to be confronted by these three things, almost as a test, in some ways, of like, what is authenticity? Where is the museum? Where is Grayson? What is fantasy? What is reality? What is art? What is not, what is not art?
Yeah.
And so there's three helmets here.
That could be a Grayson Perry.
Yeah.
That could be, because I don't know anything about...
It's quite tinselly, isn't it?
I mean, it's not. It's a Ghanaian ceremonial headdress.
Yeah, with real gold decoration. And this thing that looks much older, it's just been in my back garden for 20 years. It was made for my degree show.
Early English motorcycle.
And this is a real helmet.
Yeah. Having agreed to Perry's proposition, the British Museum spent 2 years steering him through its precious collection, selecting an eclectic group of objects made by unknown craftsmen and women, from a prehistoric hand axe to 20th century badges. Grayson's display spans 250,000 years of culture and civilization.
These pennies, they were like ordinary Victorian pennies, and the engraver, maybe in his lunch hour, has given Queen Victoria a sex change.
Used on purpose, or...
Which must have been pretty transgressive in its day.
What's that one?
That's a medal with a head covered in phalluses.
Dick head.
Yeah, literally. The medal underneath, it says, you see, it's an 18th century man. It's got Madame de Eon on it, and he was the most famous historical transvestite.
Ah, yes, I meant to ask you, I've never met you before when you weren't wearing a dress.
Yeah, but this is art, very serious. Obviously, I'm not allowed to.
No, seriously, why? So what's that all about?
What, that I'm not wearing a dress now?
Yeah.
Most of the time I don't. And
I didn't know that, because I
yeah,
didn't
and I'm always slightly aware of that it's kind of headlining my existence.
Right, so you wanted us...
I wanted you to hear what I've got to say.
By juxtaposing his own work with those by unknown artists, Grayson's expressing his own fantasy civilization. This fantasy has been central to his life since his disruptive childhood, when he would retreat into his imagination. This is when Alan Measles, his teddy, became a surrogate father figure, the god of his childhood universe.
In using my teddy bear as a god, I can talk about God without necessarily alerting the radar of the enemies. And the enemies are the people who are very certain about stuff. And Alan's motto, which it says on his piece of art around the corner here, is hold your beliefs lightly. And so this whole exhibition is trying to challenge the idea that there is certainty and there is meaning and there's a definite way things should be interpreted. I mean, on the tapestry, the British Museum is seen as a kind of multi-faith heaven. There it is, with all the different names of the afterlife. That is a map of the British Museum.
But I like it also because I think, like a lot of your work, it's a self-conscious archaeological slice of what now is.
Yeah, there's a vase there called the Frivolous Now, which I made in February this year. And I literally decided what I was going to put on it the night before I came to decorate it. So I didn't have any plan. I just watched the TV and read the newspapers. Yeah, and curiously, the people in the museum are very interested in this because as a museum object, it's very potent because it speaks so much about a moment in history.
Yeah, yeah. They'd like it because they can imagine it being dug up in the future.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Sitting at the centre of the display is another new piece of work by Grayson, entitled The Tomb of the Unknown Craftsman, an elaborate, richly decorated cast-iron coffin ship.
Everything hanging and built onto this is a cast of an object from the British Museum, mainly. So there's like a famous silver dish, there's the flood tablet, there's the Frank's casket, there's bits of medieval crucifixes and Egyptian little figurines. And then right in the centre of it is the flint tool, the original tool.
I like the way you've put this. It's 250,000 years old.
Yes.
This flint axe head. So it represents, I mean, it's the organ of generation, literally.
It was the tool that begat all tools.
From that tool,
yeah,
all art, well, this whole museum.
Yeah.
Everything in it, all the cultures, all the civilizations in it.
And most of them are anonymous. And this is the monument to that.
Grayson's exhibition also spreads beyond the walls of his allocated space. He's created a special menu for the restaurant called the Teddy Bear's Picnic. I like the fact that the exhibition continues into the restaurant.
Well, I was sort of interested, you know, when I proposed an exhibition here, I wanted the entire context. I wanted the gift shop. I wanted the marketing department, you know, and the tea menu and everything.
Talk me through it, come on. Oh, there's half.
Well, there's Marmite sandwiches, because this was, you know, a big thing in my childhood was the Marmite on toast, and this is the sort of la-di-da version of it, I suppose.
It's quite
we've got a chocolate motorbike, some jelly teddies.
But is this a work of art? Am I eating a bit of your art, or am I just eating a sandwich?
It's part of the fun of coming to a museum like the British Museum.
Right.
It's part of the ritual of it. If this is a sort of multi-faith cathedral, this is kind of
the food
holy
for
Holy Day. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's very tasty.
Oh.
Wow! It's so long since I had that.
Are you getting a kind of Proustian moment?
I am. I think I've just entered Grayson Perry's teddy bear universe.
Here he is.
The god of your universe.
Yeah, he doesn't do many sort of public appearances because he's a bit sort of a curmudgeon.
Would you get him to bless my sandwich?
Yeah, sure. Of course I will.
Thank you, Alan.
Because, you know, when you start a religion with the teddy bear, you know, people don't take it seriously, of course. But if you think about what religion is, it's an inanimate thing or idea that we project onto, you know. All rituals and the images of gods, they were not given down to us. Some bloke thought them up at some point.